Hey.
Alright y'all, so this video is long overdue. I keep on feeling like I am turning into a Thunder hater when that is totally not the case. I'm a fan of the Thunder. They are extremely fun young core. One of those players in that young core is Jalen Williams. And Jalen Williams, or J-Dub as his nickname is known, has been an NBA Twitter superstar for his short 1.5 season career, and it's all for really good reason. He was picked 12th overall in that same draft that the Thunder snagged Chet Holmgren, and it's kind of crazy to already think back, even though, again, it was just like a year and a half ago, that the Thunder, in 12 total picks in one draft, took two amazing players who are already looking like they're going to be certified superstars at some point in their career. And perhaps what's even crazier is this Thunder core has already meshed together so well. You know, they have SGA, who's an MVP candidate, and then from there, just a whole bunch of really good young players that have come together. They're currently tied for the 1 seed, and Jalen Williams, at only 22 years old, is, at least in my eyes, the definitive number 2 on this co-number 1 seed, which is probably the best compliment I can give him. It'll probably be the best compliment I'll give him for the entirety of this video. But with that being said, I am obviously going to, continue this video and continue the analysis. Anyway, the other quick point I want to make before we actually dive into some film, as I went back and watched the Oklahoma City Thunder Utah Jazz game from about a week ago. Fuck with us in. Just a quick question, do you guys remember that one era of time in the NBA where Kawhi Leonard was a certified top player in the league? I want to say it was around his playoff run in 2019. But for some reason, everyone and their mom was comparing any young prospect that was a lanky wing defender that wasn't that good on offense. They would just immediately compare them to Kawhi Leonard and say, oh yeah, this right here is the next Kawhi Leonard. Best example that comes to mind right now is like a Patrick Williams. And surprise, surprise, it very rarely ever worked out for those young players being compared to an all-time great in Kawhi Leonard. With that being said though, I do think that Jalen Williams actually shares a lot of similarities to Kawhi. Both guys were mid-first round picks. They're both drafted into some pretty favorable scenarios, with J-Dub already seeing a lot of excellence on this Thunder team, just as Kawhi was drafted into that historic Spurs dynasty. And even on the court, they're both wings, lanky wings that can play defense, they can facilitate, they can score efficiently, and they essentially are just able to do everything on the basketball court well. Now, before y'all take it too far and take this to the comments and yell at me, I'm not saying that they're the same player. There are very distinct differences between Jalen Williams and Kawhi Leonard, but the overall point I'm trying to make is that Jalen Williams is the first young prospect that truly has that Kawhi Leonard feel, where he came into the league as a pretty raw talent at that wing position, but the sky is the limit in terms of his potential. I've seen a lot of people already calling their shots that Jalen Williams will be an all-NBA team player at some point. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not going to go that far, but again, I wouldn't be surprised. Either way, Jalen Williams is a heck of a player, and when I say that he is good at pretty much everything on the basketball court, I really mean it. The term being able to guard 1 through 5 is tossed around a lot in this league. I forget which video I was talking about this. It was some recent video I made. But anyways, that term gets tossed around a lot, and there are really only a handful of players in the NBA that are actually able to accomplish that kind of feat. Jalen Williams is one of them. And not only can he guard 1 through 5, but he can also play 1 through 5 on the offensive side of the ball as well, which is just as impressive, if not more. In fact, there was literally a sequence in this game against the Jazz where Jalen Williams was running the bench unit with Chet Holmgren. I want to say he had Kenrick Williams, Aaron Wiggins, and Isaiah Joe on the court with him to round out the 5. And he was running point guard for that shift. He was handling the ball at the top of the key. He was running pick and rolls. He was creating offense. Then after the next substitution, stoppage, whatever you want to call it, Chet got subbed out. They brought on, I want to say, it was Vasily Micic, or it was some other guard. So you were running a 4-guard lineup with Jalen Williams playing the center, and it was just crazy. His entire role switched. He then went from running point to, cutting around the rim, playing in the paint, running baseline, setting screens, which is a totally underrated facet of his game, by the way. Regardless, he is a pretty perfect build for this role. He's 6'5", almost 200 pounds, but he looks so much bigger. He is an insanely explosive athlete. I personally feel comfortable calling him one of the best just pure athletes in the entire league. He's just able to wear so many hats for this Oklahoma City team. And bridging off of that, let's dive into the defense real quick. Specifically in this Utah Jazz game, he was able to guard out on the perimeter on guys like Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson, while also, I think for the most part, he was sticking with Lauri Markkanen in this game. And at his size, you would probably expect him to be a good perimeter defender, which he is. He is very handsy, he's physical, he can strip the ball from drivers. But what you might not expect is his ability to protect the rim as well. He is great at getting up quickly, getting vertical. He even had this one ridiculous recovery block on a Lauri Markkanen 3 that was just an insane feat of athleticism. And as you might expect, he's also just perfectly capable of jumping a passing lane with that explosive ability. Did it once in this game, made it look easy. Now when it comes to offense, I've already talked a lot about his explosive abilities, his athleticism, but in addition to that, he's also just turned himself into a lights out shooter. Now he is not a high volume shooter, he only takes around 3 threes per game, but he's currently hitting them at a 45% clip, which is, you know, near the top of the league. Absolutely insane, especially considering he was a sub 40% shooter last season on around the same number of attempts. And not only is he a deadly shooter off the catch from beyond the arc, he can hit pull-up threes, he can also dribble drive and get to the mid-range and hit some pull-up middies in that area as well. He had a couple of really nice ones in this game. But even on top of all of that, this season he has taken a really nice leap in the playmaking and passing category. He is turning himself into a really beautiful, connective player on the offensive side of the court. Not only is he perfectly capable of running a pick and roll when he is in a point guard role like he was with the bench lineups I mentioned earlier, but if you put someone like SGA, you know, an MVP candidate scoring guard on the court with him and he's playing off ball, then he is just absolutely tremendous as someone off the catch. You know, SGA is able to create the advantage, and then Jalen Williams is able to usually take the pass and finish that advantage. Whether that be, you know, a dunk off a cut himself, or if he's able to cut and then make an additional pass for an even more wide open shot, he just seems to always be making the 100% correct play at any possible moment on the court. Overall, I just really can't emphasize enough. I know NBA Twitter, if you go on there and just search up Jalen Williams, you will see love for days about the fact that this 12th overall pick has already taken the league by storm and is looking like a certified superstar. At least at some point in his career, he's going to be a certified superstar. And I know the counting stats might not look like anything crazy right now. I want to say he's averaging he's averaging 18, 4 rebounds, 4.5 assists with a steal per game. And I mean, the efficiencies are great. Again, the counting stats aren't that great, but that is something that I certainly expect to increase consistently for at least the next 3-4 years of his career. I'm really excited to see what a 25-year-old Jalen Williams looks like. Again, earlier in the video, I tossed out that a lot of people think he'll be an all-NBA player. By that point, I do think he'll at least be in the conversation. But I'll end the video with this. I think my favorite thing about Jalen Williams is he and maybe a couple other players in the league are the only players that I truly believe you could just place him on any of the 30 teams in the NBA and he will be a seamless fit no matter what scheme, what type of roster construction that team has, how fast they play, whatever tempo, the shot diet, whatever roster it is, whatever team. I think Jalen Williams would be a perfect addition for all 30 of them, and he would excel that roster. That's all I got for this one. As always, if you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all of those good things, and I will catch y'all in the next one.